this October 2025 meeting, business meeting of the Maryland Lynching Truth and Reconciliation Commission. As always, grateful to be here, grateful to see you all, grateful that we have made it to this point. So going along with our agenda, I'm just going to acknowledge those commissioners who are joining us this morning, and certainly will acknowledge those who will continue to join us throughout the morning. So Commissioner Millen, good morning. Commissioner Armenti, good morning. Commissioner Baker, good morning. Commissioner Stevenson, good morning. Commissioner Davis, good morning. Commissioner Coles, good morning. Commissioner Creary, good morning. Commissioner, I think that's Commissioner Seward. I want to say Steph. Oh, I don't know who the Stephanie is. It just says Stephanie. Seward, Franklin, which one? One of them. Okay, so, all right, Dr. Stewart. Okay, good.
Yeah, sorry, it is Stephanie Stewart. Couldn't find the mute button.
Oh,
good morning.
Good morning. And Commissioner Dupree Wilson, good morning to our staff. Sophie, good morning. Dr. Janice, Leah, good morning. Good to see you all. And we will move on with our agenda. So we are approving the business meeting minutes for our June meeting, our September business meeting, as well as the special meeting that we had in September as well. So those materials were sent to you all yesterday. Please review them if you haven't had a chance. Please do so now. And if there are no edits that are needed, is there a motion to accept all three of those minutes as presented?
So moved.
All right. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. So Commissioner Davis, Commissioner Millen, thank you. All right. All those in favor, please say aye. Or raise your hand. Say it out loud.
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Any opposed? Any abstain? All right. Motion carries, and those minutes are accepted as presented. So thank you all. Moving on with the agenda, my comments are going to be brief. It's October. This final report's due in December. Do the math. We are almost there. All right. So I'm grateful to again be at this point. We have put in a lot of work. Much love to 3PV for sticking with us and all of our feedback, all the extra time we needed for feedback, all the time we needed to review the feedback. Again, much appreciation. Thank you for sticking with us. Thank you for helping to craft this story that we are telling, because it is a very important story. We all know that day by day, the story becomes more important. And so the intentionality by which we share this with the people is critical. And so my gratitude to all of you for sharing your insight, your knowledge, your wisdom, your time, and your energy to get us to this point. On a personal note, it's my wife's birthday. She's turning 40. Apparently that means something. So happy birthday to my wife, Dorley. Love you. All right. We got another birthday. Okay. Oh, no. Oh, happy birthday to my wife. No, okay. I thought it was somebody else. All right. Yeah. All right. Happy birthday, my wife. All right. Great. I thought, Stephanie, I thought it was your birthday. I'm like, my bad. Yeah. She's doing well. All right. So let's move on.
Not until December. Don't age me any faster than I already am.
I'm sorry. I will not do that to anybody. Okay. I can tell you, we've already been having the conversations about what exams we have to have once we cross this 40 points. So hey, get there when you got to get there. All right. So moving on with our agenda, public comments. So again, to members of the public, thank you for joining us, being a part of this journey. As always, if you'd like to introduce yourself, you can do so in the chat, your name, your affiliation. And again, our sincerest gratitude for holding us accountable and being with us on this journey. Moving along with our agenda to committee reports. If there are any reports that need to be shared by any of our committee leads, please do so at this time. No order needed. Amy shaking her head. Nick, I don't even see you.
Oh, I'm here.
I know you. You.
Yeah, the reconciliation committee's been pretty busy. We met on Friday and sort of went through all of the recommendations, the entire draft, but focus specifically on part two, the recommendations. and just quick summary and overview of some of the bigger chunks. We decided to switch up the order of the sections. So again, starting with a formal apology that we figured if we want the state to do an apology, we should at least draft it for them. And Commissioner Coles did that, and that is being tweaked. But then we're going to go in the order of material reparations, symbolic reparations, criminal justice, community health, public education, mental health, and then media. We're also sort of towards the end of part one. Rather than discuss the themes, we're going to discuss them in terms of findings that we've established or that we found as a result of all of this research and work that we've done. In terms of, let's see, possibly, looking at including or trying to, put together a brief preface to discuss either the George Armwood case or the David. Because again, we're thinking in terms of images and possibly trying to use the Maryland, My Maryland graphic from the Baltimore Sun in the wake of the Matthew Williams lynching. The one hard part there is going to be, can we get the rights to use it? I figure, well, hey, if Armstrong Williams is still amenable, maybe we can do that. They can encompass that. Other, things that came up there, possibly trying, because again, we had talked about trying to do a press conference round about the anniversary of the, why am I blanking on it? The Davis lynching in December, and there was the suggestion that maybe we should wait for, do it after the new year before the legislature comes back. Just because trying to do something like that during the holiday season might be challenging. And I'll stop there. If other members of the committee, if I've missed anything, please feel free to share.
Oh, thanks, Nick. That's a great summary. Just one thing I want to flag for everyone. I think we've seen how this administration is coming after organizations that are still trying to implement a justice oriented mindset and framework through legislation. There was a recent example where in Ashburn, North Carolina, they had a reparations committee that passed some recommendations and proposals in early September. And pretty immediately, the Civil Rights Division fired off a letter saying that everything that they were trying to do was violating all aspects of civil rights laws, Title VI, Title VII, fair housing, 14th Amendment, everything. And pretty sure that once our report is released, we're probably going to get a letter just like that. So I preemptively tried to craft a legal argument to rebut any of the perceived constitutional violations that they are going to claim that we're violating. So I just want to flag that as something new that is in this draft of the report that we're working through is, and I basically broke it down to when there is a constitutional violation, a remedy is owed. And so I backed that up. And then secondly, went into what would be a constitutionally permissible remedy. And basically what I'm trying to do is when the state crafts a remedy that takes race into consideration, then that pretty much always requires the courts to review the remedy through a lens of strict scrutiny. And that's a really high bar to clear. Thurgood Marshall described that bar as saying it's strict in theory and fatal in fact. Almost no one can get over the strict scrutiny theory. test, the strict scrutiny test, especially because the conservative courts are constantly evolving the test pretty much every time they look at a new fact pattern and adding new hurdles that didn't exist at the time that the remedy was being crafted. But one way to get around strict scrutiny is if you do not define a remedy by the beneficiaries of the remedy by race, but instead some other criteria other than race, then the test that the court should use is called a rational basis test, which is a much lower standard to clear. And it basically just asks, did the legislature have a rational basis or have a legitimate interest? And was this a rational way to meet that interest? So it's a much lower bar. And so the way that we're trying to frame it is by identifying, and most of our remedies are general in nature. And so they don't, it doesn't matter the race of the person. If you're stopped by the police, you're still going to be treated with these higher expectations. The police are going to be held accountable. All of these different, types, most of our remedies are in that realm where they're generally applicable to everyone. But some of our remedies, particularly in material reparations, and I think in educational recommendations, where we really are trying to identify the specific communities that have been harmed by this legacy of lynching, which is a Black, most certainly is the Black community, the Black Maryland community. But rather than just saying the Black Maryland community, I think if we tie those benefits to people that have a connection to where these lynchings took place, then that's a non-race criteria that we're using. And it happens to overlap 100% with Black Marylanders, but we're not identifying them because they're Black Marylanders. We're identifying them because they're from communities where these lynchings occurred. And so I think that's an important distinction, and an analogous law that I used in this legal section is the Civil Liberties Act of 1988, which was used to give relief to the Japanese Americans who were interned during World War II. And the way that that law was structured, it specifically had like a fine requirement in it that the Attorney General needed to go and find the people that were interned at this camp, and they all got $20,000. And so rather than just saying Japanese Americans are entitled to this, that's a big group of people that may not have suffered the harm on the internment. And so instead, if we can say that there's an obligation to find the descendants of these people that were in these communities that were harmed, then we're kind of moving it away from race. And I think moving it away from a strict scrutiny test. And so so you guys will see that in the draft now, and that's the explanation for why it's there. If you want to see the DOJ letter, we can either send it to you or you could Google it. Just it was like September 2025, Civil Rights Division, Ashburn, North Carolina reparations, and the letter will come up online. But then we'll send it to all the commissioners, so that way you guys have it. Nick, would you mind? I sent it to our small group, so you guys will see what we're up against and what we filed this report on December 1st. I'll bet you guys $100 we'll have this letter by December 10th. So get ready.
Yeah, and to that end, one other recommendation that I included in the implementation section was that the General Assembly should proactively put money aside to defend the implementation, because there are going to be suits, and we should be prepared for that. They should put the money aside because they're going to need it.
Wonderful. No, thank you, Commissioner Coles. Thank you for Commissioner Curry for all of that. I'm glad that we are being proactive and preemptive with what we know is going to come once this stuff comes out. So thank you. That is very smart, very, very smart. And I hope that approach is also included in recommendations for future commissions as well. I don't know if there's a space for that, but just again being preemptive when it comes to the anticipated scrutiny, the anticipated pushback. These are the approaches that can be used to kind of skirt around what they're looking for. So thank you. Much appreciation. Now that's a great segue.
I was just going to say, I
yes.
wouldn't be surprised if after our reparations bill, if the Supreme Court doesn't invent a new test to deal with us. So.
Right. Right. Wouldn't surprise me at all.
Wouldn't surprise me at all.
Absolutely. Well, that is, and thank you again. And that's great segue to the next part of the agenda, which is discussing the final report. Now, I put vote on there. I put it on there. Perhaps that is something we will do in this meeting, but if nothing else, we will definitely discuss it and make sure that we are now all on the same page as to what it contains, the story that's being told, anything that we, any substantive information that we think is missing. Again, we do have page limits we have to be mindful of. I think over the past couple of months in particular, we are thinking about where people can find the supplementary information for the final report, because again, we cannot put every single thing we would love to in the report. So I think this time right now is to again kind of continue the discussion that we've already been having, led by Commissioner Creary and Commissioner Coles, in terms of its overview, and certainly 3PV. You're welcome to share your insights into the construction of the final report, so that commissioners can ask any questions and such. If it makes sense, and I'll go to council for this, for us to actually take a vote to approve of the final report. I know things are still being constructed. Great. If we need to hold that off till next month's meeting, then we can do that. But if nothing else, we will discuss. So with that, Commissioner Creary, is there anything you want to add about the overall final report? And then we can make space for 3PV to provide their insights as well.
Yeah, I guess first off, I just want to, number one, thank Leah and Shanice for the amazing work that they have done on this report. I also want to thank those of you, fellow commissioners who've taken the time to go through and provide such extensive comments. I really think that will make for a much stronger report at the end. Beyond that, I will just shut up and turn it over and let the conversation continue.
All right, so Sophie, I see your hand. We'll start with you, and then Commissioner Millen, I'll come to you. You're on mute, Sophie.
Hi, everyone. Before we get to the substance of the report, I had a few questions about the construction. I don't know if commissioners would prefer I email the questions, or if I could just run through them quickly. If you have answers, fine. If not, I can always email to get those answers. So I think we're estimating the report is going to be more than 500 pages with all the appendices. We can't handle that large of a print job in-house. So we have to contract with a printing service, a vendor. So in order for us to generate a quote, we're going to generate 3 quotes. They have certain information that needs to be included in the quote. So do we think the report will be color or in black and white? Is it a digital file? I know 3PV will be sending it to us in a zip file. Will there be cover art? They want to know when we would turn over the report to them and when we would need it by. So the report is due December 1st, the weekend before Thanksgiving. The state is closed on Thanksgiving and the day after Thanksgiving. So I was thinking of requesting the final printing from them on November 26th. So that would give us a day or two to actually mail it out. And then they want to know if there would be tabs. I don't believe there will be tabs. I think it's just going to be the report with the appendices, but I wanted to at least run through those questions. So any thoughts? And I can repeat the questions again.
All right, so I'll go with Commissioner Millen, and then Commissioner Coles, I'll come to you.
My comment is outside of this topic, so
Okay.
I'll lower my hand and then re-raise it later.
Okay, no problem. Thank you. Commissioner Coles, I see your hand.
I wanted to ask, would it be possible if we only had the report printed and then maybe included a QR code to reference for the appendices? Because the report itself is only about 150 pages. And so that way it could be like a little more manageable. Maybe we could get more copies and then, direct them to an online file or something where all the appendices are. It's just a thought.
Oh, well, we have to print 6 copies and mail
okay.
them to the Department of Legislative Services, and then they will distribute it to the General Assembly. And then we also have to send a copy to the governor's office. So we're only printing the copies to fulfill that mandate. And then if the commission wants to upload the report into sections or however they want to like disseminate it to the public, that would be the commission's decision. But we only need 6 copies for the statute.
Okay. If it's just this 6 copies, Nick, you're saying black and white would be cheaper. I wonder if it would look as good though. And I don't know.
And then if we're using cover art that has, color, then you may
Yeah.
just want to do a full color, especially if we're going to be adding graphs.
Right.
Or
I
like-
would think in color.
Yeah, having quotes stand out, maybe
Right.
making them different colors.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, and then in terms of binding the report, is the commission fine with just like a simple coil binding?
Sure.
Okay.
I don't know how to answer that question.
Color, and then there will
What
be
about
cover
that-
art. I'll
What
just
about
say
the
yes.
pressed binding?
Oh, pressed. Okay, I can ask about that.
What
as
do you,
well.
I feel like that looks more reportish than coil. What do you guys think?
I think I have to look this up. Let me see what press binding looks like.
It's like the
I've
pages.
not heard of press binding, but I've heard of perfect binding. Is that
I'm
like
probably
the
not
flat
using the right
square
word for it.
edge?
What'd you call it?
Perfect binding.
Could you write it down? I can't hear you.
You said
I'm sorry,
perfect
I'm
binding,
driving.
right?
Perfect?
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll Google that.
Yeah. I'm
That's
doing
a
that
flat
too.
edge.
Yeah.
Like yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, I made up the
Oh, okay. That's perfect binding. That is
I
clean.
do
I do
agree
like-
that color would be better, but maybe that's a part of the quote process too, is to see
Oil
the
binding.
differentiation.
Yeah, I like perfect binding if we could get that.
It is clean.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I will make those requests: color, perfect binding, the digital file, and then the timing. And then for 3PV, not to put you on the spot. If you don't have an answer now, that's okay. But when do you think we would have the full completed report? Just so I can put it in the quote. Like I need to have a date for them now.
Yeah, I think originally we had all said by the end of this month, October
Okay.
1st. We wouldn't mind a few extra days, but but as close to the 31st as possible, because we understand the urgency, and we're working as hard as we can to get it finished. So.
Okay. Well, thank you. This should be enough. And then if I need any more information, I will just email the commission. Thank you.
All right. Wonderful. Thank you. Commissioner Miller, we can come back to you with your question.
Yeah, I was just going to point out that one appendix has not been included yet, and that's the recommendations that the Logistics Committee wrote for future commissions, future potential commissions. And given the comment that Commissioner Coles made about maybe including her comments about the legal piece, that might need to get added into that location. That might be where it could go. So Commissioner Coles, maybe you could draft like a sentence for me, since you have a clearer understanding with your legal background than I would, and I can add that in. And my second question is, will we as the commission be able to see the comprehensive report one more time before it goes to press?
Yeah, I'm thinking, sorry, I'm just jumping in here really quickly. We're going to try our best by the end of this month, very early beginning of November, to kind of send like another final draft, because we know that there may still be some additional edits or thoughts that come up from us adding in the edits that came in before the 17th. And so in terms of like the final piece, that will likely be probably the second week of November in terms of like what could actually be printed, but that will allow us some time between the end of this month and like November 14th or so to kind of go back and forth and iron out those final details, because it often is the little things that take the longest amount of time. And also I need some time to mock up what it'll look like visually. And so we just need a little bit of time to get all of that done.
Right.
But
We
that's
are
yes, Amy.
Yeah, no, and we are also still waiting for some citations, and it will radically change the story if we don't get those citations. I know who to talk to get them, but I'm just putting the word out now. So yeah.
Awesome. Great. Sophie, I see your hand.
Oh, just a quick question. So I had estimated that the report total of all the appendices would be 500 pages, but it's sounding like, would it be closer to maybe 600? Because if the report itself is about 150 and the case studies are about 350 pages, with all the other smaller reports, are we thinking 600 should cover it, or should we go bigger?
The submission from the logistics committee, I think, is 3 pages.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
That's
think
not moving the needle.
Okay.
I think 600 is excessive. You might as well get a quote for that just in case, but I think that's overdoing
I don't
it.
think it's excessive. It actually may be closer to 600 than 500, but I don't think too much larger than 600. So yeah, I would try to get quotes for both.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do.
Yeah.
And very quickly, just want to acknowledge the commissioners that have joined us. Commissioner Snowden, good afternoon, because it's now noon. Commissioner Parker, good afternoon. I think, did I see anybody else? I think that's everybody. Okay, just wanted to acknowledge their presence. Awesome. All right. Any other?
I'm so sorry. We have to hop off. So if there are any additional questions for us, please either feel free to ask us now or shoot us an email. But just wanted to acknowledge that I have to head back to Philly. And so if there's anything else for us, we're here for like a couple more minutes.
Awesome. Any pressing questions for 3PV before they hop off? If not, as was said, you can just feel free to email them with the questions. And if I'm hearing none, seeing none, okay, we will let you go. Dr. Janice, Leah, thank you as much as always. Safe travels.
Take care.
Peace. All right, we continue our discussion about the final report. Are there any other questions, thoughts, feedback that we want to raise? Do people like the final report? I like it.
I think it's amazing. I think they did an incredible job.
Okay. All right. Basic question. Are we cool with it? Okay, good. Yeah, I thought incredible work. Again, all around. This is our collective. And Commissioner Haley, my apologies. Yes, you have joined us as well. Thank you for being here. Yeah, incredible work all around. I think the one thing that we continue to emphasize, and this will be explicitly stated in the final report as well, is that this is the work that we were able to do in the time that we had, with the capacity that we had, with the resources that we had. We would never claim that this is the exhaustive work of racial terror lynchings in the state of Maryland. We hope that this serves as a jump off point, not even more than a jump off point, but certainly further establishment as to how important this history is, with the encouragement that people will continue to engage in the necessary work of telling as full a story as possible. This is our contribution to that effort. And so as long as that is conveyed, I am personally, and in my capacity as chair, I am happy, proud, content with what we have done, because we did a lot, and that should not be understated at all. And there's always more to do. Let me see. So, Commissioner Haley, we did not talk about the cover image. We can actually do that now. So we were focusing more on just questions about and thoughts, feedback on the final report overall. We were actually going to, pretty much now transition to talking about graphics that can be shared within the final report. So before we get to that, Commissioner Snowden, I see your hand.
Yeah, I just have a question. Once the report is published, where do we plan to have it placed beyond just the Maryland General Assembly?
Mm-hmm.
Is an idea to share it with other institutions that could later use it? And what I've got in mind, and very specifically, that I'd like to recommend that the group consider, is that the final report be sent to the HBCUs here in Maryland, given what happened at many of the many of the lynchings, particularly on the Eastern Shore. It'd be great for scholars, for people who are going to, in the future, um, do research in this subject matter. They'd have a starting point. Another thing you may want to consider, Chris, I assume it's going to be at the archives.
But we certainly will have it linked from the website, and the actual physical copy we certainly will have a physical copy here as well.
And I think we should have it to Reginald Lewis and Banneker Douglas. I think wherever there is an institution that's dedicated toward understanding our history here in Maryland, it should be there, should be made readily available to those particular institutions. So one of my recommendations that we may want to consider is not just HBCUs, which I think it certainly should go to, but other colleges, universities as well, particularly on the Maryland Eastern Shore. Salisbury and that history in Wacomico County, would be a nice place to have it land as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll go one further, Commissioner Snowden. I would think that every agency and institution that's represented on this commission should have the final report. The National Great Blacks and Whites Museum will definitely have a copy of this final report on its website. I would like to think that, hey, if they were willing to put you all on the commission to represent these different spots, then they should be willing to host the final report as well. And so HBCUs is just the start. I would say all of us and what we represent in terms of institutions should have this final report on there. And I trust that as the representatives, we will do what we can to make sure that happens. Absolutely.
So how do just it's a mechanical question. We got HBCUs, got all these institutions. Will it be a formal letter, as you as the chair, sent to these institutions? Please find enclosed attached reports to be archived.
In all likelihood, yes. And probably the way that I would do it is certainly have the institutional representative included in that message as well. So almost kind of the liaison is like, yes, we're asking you to make space for this final report. Here is your institutional representative. Please, collaborate with them to make sure that it happens, and ask us if you have any questions. Keep it kind of simple, straightforward. Obviously, you all know your institutions and agencies better than I do. So you'll understand the channels that are necessary in order to get this in a proper place.
I would just caution though that when you do that, give the assembly just a minute to have their opportunity to review it before you start sending it out. So number one, they don't feel circumvented or they don't feel like they've been backed into corners, just because I know there are members on the assembly that may feel that way if they don't feel like they've at least had a chance to read it before they're getting questions about it.
Right.
So I'm not saying that not to do it. I'm just saying make sure that we're thoughtful of timing.
Stephanie, I think that's an important. But again, let me just I kind of know how things can happen, particularly when you're winding up, unless we really have a process in place. Not all HBCUs are represented on this commission. They have representatives, so it wouldn't automatically go to them. I just want to make sure that we have a system in place, whether it's the Office of the Attorney General that's coordinating this or whomever, that it goes out. Because once the commission is kind of resolved, if we don't get the activity and have it already scheduled, I agree with Stephanie. Timing is important. It should follow after the General Assemblies have their copies, but we should also have a follow-up plan after a certain amount of time to make sure it happens.
I absolutely 100% agree with you. I was just saying, as we're planning that, part of the plan might be thinking about that timing.
Right. Yeah. So just to kind of narrow this down, will we depend on the Attorney General's office to follow up with this when it's all said and done? Do we supply them with a list of the institutions that this will be going to? How does that work?
So now we will not be sending out the report beyond sending it to the Department of Legislative Services, to the governor, to the General Assembly. I think there was discussion about maybe sharing a read-only Google document. The report as drafted is too large for us to email. So there's no way that we on our servers would be able to start emailing out the full report. I think maybe uploading a copy to the lynching website, maybe a Google Doc that can be easily shared, but we don't have the capacity to share out that report beyond the printing service to print it out and mail it as legally mandated.
So that's good that you make that point, because again, there may be some assumptions being made while we want certain things to occur, thinking that it's just going to happen automatically. Why I'm kind of spending a little time on this, because I really do think that we should really make a concerted effort to get it to institutions, so they have it part of their, archives, and people who want to do further research will have it available. So if the AG's office is not able to do that from a staffing standpoint, are there other entities here who could take the responsibility to make sure it happens?
So I would say that's something we certainly need to discuss and figure out what that actual approach is. And to clarify, Commissioner Snowden, all the HBCUs in Maryland are represented on the commission: Morgan, Coppin, Bowie, and UMES. So we do have that covered. And like we said, at bare minimum, the HBCUs in Maryland would have access to this final report. But I think we all agree that all of our institutions should have access to the final report. And so we'll think about the best ways that it can be transferred to representatives of those institutions and then shared in the appropriate channels. So to be continued, because I think that's kind of where we are now. Is we're finishing up the final report. Now we can transition to our dissemination, our advocacy, and all that necessary work. So thank you all for that. Commissioner Millen, I see your hand. And then Commissioner Coles, I'll come to you.
Thank you. Continuing this conversation a little bit further, I think the Lynching in Maryland exhibit that is being hosted by the Lewis Museum would be a great place. There could be a QR code to the report or a visual. I mean, I'm not a museum designer, and so Robert, Commissioner Parker, I'd let you sort of run with that, but I think that's a logical place. The other is making sure, and I do think I heard this, but I'm going to reiterate it, that it is on the website, or the commission's website. Third, I think it would be a responsible decision to send an email notice with a link to the report to our county partners.
Yes.
Who actually hosted the hearings. They have been asking for the report, and that is on us to make sure that they have that, especially descendants and descendant communities. Last, I'd pull out the old press list and let the press know it's done and out there. And again, timing is everything that has already been raised, that, we want to give the legislature a half a second to look at it first. So.
Absolutely. So this is again another. This is the next step, right? And this is where we certainly will call on commissioners to help us with this strategy of making sure everyone who deserves to see the final report, which is everyone, but we know there's some priorities, get to have access to the final report. So when it comes to that press list, when it comes to the local coalitions, the descendant community, when it comes to our institutions, obviously we were talking about those in Annapolis. We'll take care of that too. That we have, again, as comprehensive a list of our audiences as possible when it comes to disseminating this final report, including obviously having it on, the websites or the archives of the institutions that we represent. So those who are interested in helping with that, so Carl, definitely you and others, right? Please start to think of that now. Feel free to share your thoughts and ideas with me so that, we continue the conversation and start to put this strategy together. Commissioner Coles, I see you.
Thank you. I had a question for Stephanie. Stephanie, I was wondering if OAG was going to be conducting any type of substantive review of the report before it was final. And I was just curious.
We will have the report shared with our leadership. I don't believe, they're not the subject matter experts, so I don't believe there's going to be a deep dive into the substance. We're going to defer to the commission. But generally with these reports for boards and commissions, we do share it with the deputies and the AG. So they have an opportunity to review it.
Okay, thanks. Just wondering.
Awesome. Great. So continuing our conversation, any thoughts on graphics that we want to include in the final report? So we had our executive team meeting on Friday. This question was raised. I gave a few thoughts on just kind of the overall vibe of the graphics that I would like to see, but we certainly want to make space for commissioners to share their insights on how we want the report to be visually presented in terms of color, images, graphs, tables, whatever we deem important to include. So Commissioner Haley, since you asked whether we talked about that, I want to see if you have any thoughts and insights into that aspect of the final report.
Sure. Thank you, Chair. I mean, my basic thought was whatever is as far as the overall font and this and the other, I feel like whatever is most presentational, eye legible, and to some degree standard. However, what I was more not concerned, but I don't know, figuratively thinking about impact is for that cover page, that the first thing that people see when this huge packet is put before them, which makes them want to open it, or even if they don't open it, they are affected by it. So to the fact that it doesn't just say Maryland Lynching Truth and Reconciliation Commission, but it shows what this is about. And that's why we were putting forth, I think it was 2 or 3 different images that we were sharing to make it different from a standard Maryland Commission report, which I think usually has the state flag or something on the and as we'll say of the year. This one I think should have something that's more specific as to what this is about. If you don't read anything, you know this is about this horrific act of racial terror. And so and then there was I think there were 2 images we were looking at. One could be at the beginning, the cover, and then one could be inside or at the end, something of that sort. And I don't know if anybody has those images here, because I don't remember. Someone brought up that, maybe Nick brought up the illustration, which is a classic illustration.
Yeah, I shared the image of Maryland, My Maryland from the Baltimore Sun. We were also at the Reconciliation Committee meeting talking about using the James Reed lynching photograph in the report as well, just because it's one of the few actual images that we have, as well as the image of George Arnold with the police in there as well, just to kind of, I guess, show, I don't know if it's the progression that we want to show, as much as just to kind of show, these are different points in which lynchings happen, and this is what it looks like, or what it looked like, showing the Reed one. And again, that one also has, I think, a certain resonance because of what they did. It's like exhuming his body to further desecrate it, I think, is a particularly powerful example to highlight.
Absolutely. I'm looking at the Maryland, My Maryland one. That one seems perfect to me.
Mm-hmm.
Quite honestly, if I would have lent my opinion. Commissioner Snowden, I see your hand, and then Commissioner Stewart, if I come to you.
Nicholas, are you aware of, and I think it exists, are you aware of the photograph of Henry Davis, who was shot over 100 times after being lynched, and a enterprising entrepreneur came along and took a photograph of this gruesome sight of a man who'd been shot over 100 times, and then created a postcard of this that he sold 3 for a quarter. What would you call the evening cap?
I'm not aware of, if that image is available. If it is, I would imagine the postcard may be available in the NAACP lynching files. I don't recall seeing that at a, when I was doing research with my students, but that doesn't mean that it's not there. So here again, if anybody can track that down, I'd be open to doing that. And again, I fully acknowledge that this may be triggering for any number of people to see those images, and we may want to include trigger warnings there to say, hey, we're showing stuff, this is what it actually looked like. This may be triggering, and prepare yourselves accordingly. And with that, I'm going to have to hop off now because I'm about 2 stops from my spot, so I got to start packing up. But thank you all for everything. This has been amazing.
Thank you, as always, Commissioner Creary. Safe travels.
I think, what about the flag? A man was lynched yesterday.
I think
On
it's
the
just
cover.
certainly. I mean, it's definitely an option. It's certainly a famous image for sure, and so I think there's no shortage of options, unfortunately, that we can choose in order to kind of set the tone for the report. I think as long as it has a Maryland connection, that's the main thing, right? So even if, because for me for those who haven't seen it, let me just quickly share it. And yes, trigger warning for those that may. Let's see if I'm showing it. So that's the Maryland, my Maryland drawing that Nick was mentioning. And my thought was, when I saw that, also having the Maryland flag colors to make it abundantly clear that this is an element of this state's history would be an image that people couldn't ignore when it came to the front of our report. So again, that's just my thought. We have some time to think about what would be best to, again, set the tone for the report. As Commissioner Haley said, even if you don't open it, you all know what this is about, right? Even just by the cover. So please bring your thoughts. I would say if you have links to photos or links to images that you think will capture the essence of what we're trying to. Yeah, you're right. Exactly. We got options. You know what I mean? We got options, and yeah, we don't necessarily want to trigger people. We do want to get their attention. This is going to get attention one way or another, and we know this. The very nature of what we've been doing for the past 6 years is going to get people's attention, and we don't need to shy away from that. We knew what we were signing up for when we joined this commission, so we're not going to back down from it now. So I would say, if you have thoughts on the image, certainly I'm thinking using primacy and recency effect. The first thing that people see, the last thing that people see should be an image, right? And certainly the story will be in the middle. Just bring your thoughts. You can share them with me if you don't want to share them with the full commission, and we can come to a decision on what again sets the tone for what we will be presenting in the final report. So Commissioner Seward, I'll come to you next.
So actually, I think you kind of briefly touched on what I was thinking.
Mm-hmm.
I think it should be a very poignant and powerful image that's on the front. But I also think that while we should include some of these images within the report, the cover itself should not be triggering to those very people that we are trying to represent. You have an option once you decide to open that and read it and get those trigger warnings, then to be able to determine what your own mental health status is and how that would impact you. That cover, you don't have that option yet. And I'm just thinking, I've worked in the sexual misconduct space. And a lot of times when we talk about triggering, we think sometimes about triggering others to understand that this occurred and what might trigger people who haven't. But we also have to think about those people that have experienced it. Either they're descendants or they've heard these stories passed down. For them, these images are also triggering and can be triggering. So as we're thinking about what we're putting on there, I agree we shouldn't shy away from who we are and the work that's been done. But at the same time, I think we also have to make sure that we're giving those individuals that we are representing the opportunity to brace themselves mentally and emotionally before they even open the cover.
That's a fair point. Thank you for raising that, Commissioner Sewell. That's a fair point, absolutely. And we should certainly strike that balance. It's very important. So thank you, and thank you, Commissioner Davis, for sharing your insight as well. We want to do our best to strike the balance. Commissioner Snowden, I see your hand, and then Commissioner Coles, I'll come to you.
I just want to, I do think we want to give serious consideration to what goes on the cover. And Stephanie, I understand your point very, very well. But I'll also tell you that there are times that something that shocks people is absolutely what's needed. There's no way to, some experiences that people see themselves, eyewitness themselves, without any, I mean, it just shocks the conscience and it helps move people. And I just think we want to give some really serious consideration to what the cover looks like and why it may trigger, for some people, that response that you talk about. The more I know, the more I understand. There's a whole lot of people who have no idea, none, how brutal slavery, how brutal lynchings were in slavery. And I don't know whether there's any way to tell a story other than what it is. I mean,
And that's why I said consider including some of this inside the report where it is
I heard
accessible, but it people have the opportunity
right,
to put themselves in the mental health headspace
right,
that they would need to be able to absorb it. And again, thinking about it from the individuals that were impacted, that's where I think that's a really important balance.
right.
I mean, if somebody wants to shock me and it's something that I didn't experience, 100% shock me. But if it's something that you want to shock me with that I've experienced and it's going to harm me, then I think we need to be thoughtful of that.
Right. And I think the chairman made the point that we've got to find that equilibrium. And I just don't want us to, the cover is going to be important. And we really ought to try to find a consensus, if we can, on what that cover should look like. Chris, for your information, that postal gruesome postcards, I Googled it, it's in your archive. So we do have those description of that postcard. It's not the image, it's what it was, an article that appeared in the Capitol describing what those postcards look like. Because I could imagine when this was done in 1904, the reason the Capitol didn't print the photograph because they did not want to shock the conscience of the people who were involved, the 50 plus people who were involved. And while we got the floor, Mr. Chairman, I just want to make two announcements sort of off point. One is Chris Haley did such a magnificent job. Chris, I'm so glad we recorded you. Chris spoke at an event very recently. I'm glad we recorded it. For people who are interested in hearing and listening to his comments, they'll check out the caucus where he served as the moderator, but he set the tone so well. Chris, I don't know how much time you spent on that, but I want to just tell you, everybody's been talking about, you just set the right tone for it, and thank you for that. And the second thing I wanted to share with the group as a whole, and I really would ask if you are willing to participate in this, it would be very, very helpful. We're about to build a memorial here in Annapolis to Malcolm X, but we're doing something we've never done before here in the state of Maryland. We got the governor and others who've agreed to do it, and because of you, this committee, and the work you've done, I think you'd be ideal to participate in what we're requesting. We're asking the governor and everyone else who would be willing to be involved in this to do the following. We want you to answer one simple question. And how you answer that question, there's no right or wrong answer. It has to be laminated, your response, and put in a sealed envelope, which nobody will be able to read for 50 years. It's going to go in a time capsule to be opened up 50 years from now. And the question we would ask, and this group seemed to be perfect to respond to this, The question we would ask is have you answered is the following. What do you think race relations will be like in the year 2076? 2076. What do you think race relations will be like? And just for your edification, that will also be the 300th anniversary of the founding of this nation. So if those of you would be interested, would be willing to do this, again, your comments will not be published in advance. The only one that will know what you wrote is you, because we're going to ask you to put in a sealed envelope to be open. Now, some of you may be around 50 years from now and can see what others have said. But in the event that you choose not to be around 50 years from now, please let your children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren know that you wrote this so that when it's open, they can see what you thought race relations would be 50 years from next year and how close you came to describing America in 2076. You got plenty of time to do this. If you're interested in doing it, you have until December 1st. We want to give you thought to it. When you write whatever you write, please put your identifying information about yourself, your age, your race, your profession, so that when somebody looks at it, they will see what your perspective was based on your lived experience. So thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the opportunity to share that. And again, I hope we have people on the call who'd be willing to participate.
No, absolutely. Thank you, Commissioner Snowden. Commissioner Coles, I see your hand.
Thank you. I want to just go back to the cover conversation, and I understand the different interests we're trying to balance, and want to make a suggestion, but also an observation. I'm familiar with the sexual assault conduct and wanting to be sensitive to victims. I would argue that this situation is slightly different because the harm that Black people have suffered is not just the lynching, but the cover up. And by putting it front and center, that is affirming and seeing and making everyone see. It's similar to with Emmett Till's mother, right? Like, is it shocking that she had to see her son that way? But she said, let the world see. And I think what a lot of the descendants of family members of people that have been lynched is, I want you to see what we have experienced. And so I don't know if it's exactly analogous, but as a potential third way, I thought maybe we could put a cover before the cover that literally just says trigger warning, right? Because our whole report is a trigger warning, everything in there. And so maybe it could even be like a sheer-ish. I don't know if we're able to get a different texture, a different material, but if it could be a sheer cover that says trigger warning, and then our real cover and everything else follow. So I just wanted to make that suggestion.
Excellent.
Yeah, no, I like that. And as we've had this conversation, one of the things that I think we can easily do, and Commissioner Millen, you would be very helpful. Let's ask descendants. Let's just ask them, right? If we are, I think, most concerned with how they may react and respond to this because it is their legacy and let's ask them, how do you want us to present this story? The first thing that the governor will see, the first thing that legislators will see, the first thing that institutions will see is an image. I think we're all in agreement on that. Basically, how hard can we go with the image, right? Because as you said, Commissioner Coles, and that's important. Maybe Till Mobley wanted the whole world to see what hate did to our child. She did. She made that concerted decision to say, nope, you got to see it. Not gonna let you skirt around it. Right. And so certainly in honor of that legacy, yeah, we could do the same thing, and perhaps we should. And we can do it with thoughtfulness and, I would say, affirmation from the descendants of the victims. If they're cool with it, we doing it.
I would say, especially like if we pick a particular image, most certainly we should ask that person's descendants, because they're going to be the first one shot, right? That's their great grandfather. And so I think if we do choose an image, definitely get their permission.
No doubt. Vice Chair Chavez, welcome. I see your hand.
Yes. So I think I just put my notes in the chat. I would second the inclusion of the Maryland, my Maryland pencil drawing from the Baltimore Sun of Matthew Williams. I think that image, well, first of all, just the title, Maryland, my Maryland, of itself kind of exemplifies everything that we're saying in our report, right? That and why this work is so significant. This is not Mississippi. This is Maryland, and this is a part of our story, and the story of terror and trauma that we've inflicted upon African American communities, and it's kind of putting it front and center. So I think that image is one that is very powerful without having, and it's also because it's a drawing. I think some of the more the horror and the things around the actual images, I think that helps sanitize some of it, but it is still gets the picture across in terms of the horror. But the Maryland, My Maryland piece is also essential to the work we're doing as well, and what we're trying to convey, and hope to convey through this report. Those are just my thoughts.
No, thank you, Vice Chair Chavis. And you said the drawing is related to Matthew Williams, right?
Yeah, it's a drawing of Matthew Williams. Yeah.
Got you. So are there any, if we were to go that route, do we have descendants of Matthew Williams' family?
We have collateral descendants. I can reach out to Miss Jeannie Jones.
Okay, because if we were to go that route, again, we would want to get permission, support, approval to go that route. So that's good to know. So if you can start exploring that, just kind of let her know that this is something we're considering for the cover, and to get her thoughts to see if she would be okay with that, that would be very helpful. Commissioner Haley, I see your hand.
What was the name of the young lady who was on, and this is going back some, I think she was a granddaughter of someone I thought who was lynched. She was on the first Maryland Lynching Memorial Project event that was held, I believe it was at Johns Hopkins, and I think Sherilyn Eichel was there too, and she was on the panel, youngish, maybe she was 30 or so. I can't think of her. I want to say Tina. I just don't exactly remember, but I thought she was a descendant. She was right at the beginning. Nobody's remembering this. Okay, I'll have to look see what the
George Armwood. She was a descendant of George Armwood.
She is okay.
Yes.
But I think she's someone we could probably reach. I think if she's still in the area as well for her.
Well, in terms of the image that we have the Armwood image,
awesome.
And the Afro cover image.
We're losing you, Charles. We don't hear you, I don't think.
The Afro image.
Okay.
Newspaper image of the Armwood. They have very graphic photographs of Armwood as well.
Okay, so you said the Afro archives, right?
Yes, I mean we have all of them. They're also on this Maryland MSA's website.
Got you. Okay. Well, I think we're all in agreement that if we see the potential for obviously an image to be very, very powerful. No matter which image we choose, if we have the opportunity to speak to a descendant whose ancestors in that photo, or image, drawing, whatever the case may be, if we can let them know that we're considering this, if we can get their support or not, basically their thoughts. If they don't want it, then we're not going to do it, right? Well, we can go to another image, and if we get their support, then we'll go that route. And again, please share again your thoughts about what the image can be. So we have the Maryland, My Maryland as an option. We have others as options. So I think the first step is to kind of get an idea of what we are looking at for that cover, or cover within the cover, right? And then take the steps of reaching out to descendants to make sure whether we have their support to do that. Okay. And I think the idea of having the trigger warning as the first cover and then opening it up to what we really want to show is a balance, right? Is a balance, and it's kind of honoring, yes, we don't want to shy away from this, and at the same time we don't want to inflict any unnecessary trauma on those who are most affected by this legacy. Okay. So thank you all for that, being mindful of time. We've talked in part about the advocacy strategies. I'll just kind of provide a quick summary. So Commissioner Snowden, Commissioner Creary, and I had a meeting just to kind of think of some preliminary thoughts with a list of people, primarily lawmakers in Annapolis, with whom we want to make sure they get the heads up about our final report. I can let you all know that I reached out to Delegate Pena Melnick, who, as we all remember, championed the original bill. She is fully on board. After this meeting is over, I will schedule a meeting with her officially to go through the final report. So those that are interested in joining that conversation, please feel free. In addition to, giving her the overview of the final report, we can also get her insight on how best to navigate subsequent steps. Again, she's all on board, so I had no doubt. But it's been confirmed. She's still on our side. And so we'll move through getting this in front of as many people as possible, certainly before the final report is officially released. Again, thinking about the press conference that we would like to do. I think we mentioned Monday, December 22nd as a proposed date because that corresponds with the anniversary of a racial terror lynching. So these are things that are moving pretty quickly. And again, really appreciate fellow commissioners sharing their time, their energy, and their insights as we craft these strategies. Commissioner Coles, I see your hand.
Yes, I understand that that date corresponds with the lynching, but I would caution against holding it during the week of Christmas. I think a lot of people plug out. I think as commissioners, we may want to plug out and focus. I know I'm planning to travel with my family that week, delegates. So I would, if we could, do it another week, either before or after, after January 1st, I think it would get more people's attention.
Yeah, that's totally understood. And yeah, I would be heading to Nigeria 2 days later. So I'm with you. Do we know when session begins officially?
To look it up.
Yeah, let me see. I just want, because if we could do it, right before session, I know that. Let me just see session 2026. So, it starts on my birthday. That's a birthday gift. Okay, cool. January 14th. So it starts January 14th, which is I should know my own birthday. It's a Wednesday, so smack dab in the middle of the week. So if we could do something the weekend before, so the 9th, so that's January 9th for Monday, January 12th. So that's 2 days before session starts.
Yeah.
That might be ideal. Obviously, it would be fresh. It would go right into the start.
Better.
So we can look at those dates. So Carl, to your point, if we can still have it in Annapolis at a very salient point, that would be great. And I think that, and so obviously by that time the report will have been out. Those who we wanted to give the heads up will have gotten the heads up. And this is kind of our public declaration, and that flows right into session, which we will continue to be doing advocacy anyway. So that works out. So again, please share your thoughts on the logistics, what we want to make sure that we're saying in the press conference, things of that matter. But I agree, let's avoid the holiday season, and we can do that weekend or that weekend or the week of the start of session, which is mid-January.
Well, one of the things we may want to take in consideration, just knowing how the media works, the General Assembly is going to be open. They'll be doing these pre-stories in the General Assembly. And also the 9th of January is a week before the King holiday, and there'll be a lot of stuff focused around King. I would presume that what we want to do is get the maximum exposure for this press conference, right? So I think what we may really want to do is spend some time kind of giving some thought to what's going to get us the maximum exposure in terms of this particular report. And I think we may want to try to avoid competing with other issues that's going to be coming for the General Assembly. Just as a reminder to people, I sort of kind of try to follow what I think is going to be the trend. The story that's going to, I think, be dominant, and you can check with the delegate when you speak to her, starting in January, is whether or not this General Assembly is going to override the governor's veto on reparations. And I really want us not to get lost in that issue. So I think we want to time this before the General Assembly opens, because I know that's going to be the major issue. And I want to make sure that this doesn't get lost. So I understand the idea about holidays and that sort of thing. There's a plus and a minus with holidays. The plus is that the media is always looking for something to fill on that day because news is short. So you tend to get more of an impact than you would if it's during the regular time period. Although I do recognize, Michelle, that you're right, people on vacation, they take holidays, etc. But we really want to take time to think about what date we select. where we get the maximum exposure and not be competing with another issue. And reparations definitely is going to be an issue that the governor's going to have to address.
No, thank you for that, Commissioner Snowden, and that's what we certainly want to ponder and think about. Again, your insight will be very helpful for that. And when we do have the meeting with Delegate Pena Melnick, we'll bring that up with her too. She'll give us guidance on how best to navigate. Vice Chair Chavis, I'll come to you, and then Sophie, I'll come to you.
Yeah, I just wanted to make note that the anniversary for Matthew Williams is December 4th, a little bit earlier, and I would bring it
Call.
but that's all I wanted to know.
You want me to call you back? Okay.
Thank you for that, Vice Chair Chavis. Sophie, I'll come to you, and then Commissioner Barnes, I'll come to you.
Yeah, I just had a quick question about the press conference. Is the commission going to set up a small group that would actually be the points of contact to, contact the media, the press release, all the steps that go into putting together a press conference? Is there a commissioner or a small group of commissioners that are going to be like the points of contact for that?
Well, I think we'll have to create that group. I think part of this discussion is hopefully commissioners will express interest. And again, I'll reiterate, if you are interested in helping, I've already recruited Carl, so he knows he's part of this. Anybody else who wants to help, again, craft the press conference to be points of contact. Certainly, I think some of the commissioners that were most involved with the final report. So I'm thinking of Commissioner Coles. I'm thinking of Commissioner Creary. Yeah, we're going to need you certainly to help provide that substance. Should be a part of it as well. But really, any commissioners that have the time, the energy, and the willingness can be a part of this group that helps put this together. Yes. Commissioner Barnes, I see your hand.
I'm just feeling like January is too late. Somebody's going to release it. And if somebody releases it, it should be us. And it should be in probably December. But I do say check with Delegate Pena I can't say her name correctly. I'm sorry.
Pena Melnick.
Pena Melnick. I'd say check with her, but I feel like January, it's going to be old news by then. But maybe you could follow up after we've done a release in December. But I think we should maybe the week before Christmas, not the week of Christmas, but so that we are the first ones to release it.
If we can be on top with that timeline, fine. That's what I'll say. All right. I'm just being mindful of how we have moved before. And so usually we need more time, not less. But what I will say is when I set up this meeting with Delegate Pena Melnick, I'll ask her all these questions, right? She'll have insight that's going to be very, very valuable. She'll be honest, right? She'll let us know how best to not get lost, right, in other stories. And Commissioner Snowden, to your point, I certainly understand, that the Reparations Commission is going to be a major topic in the upcoming session. Well, the fact of the matter is, we are kind of the predecessor to that Reparations Commission, right? The simple fact is that when that Reparations Commission, and I think it's a when, not an if, is overwritten, one of us will be on that commission. So we are part of the story. I don't say whether I think we do like it. I think we like that we're part of it in a certain way. So we can own that as well, and certainly position ourselves as the commission that has done significant work to show that some type of repair is needed. We don't necessarily have to talk about the money, right, and all the tangible reparations, but the idea that harm has been caused to Marylanders and repair is necessary for the health and well-being of the state. Yeah, we're not going to shy away from that. When it comes to the particulars, sure, that is a discussion still to be had. And certainly we are coming from the angle of racial terror lynchings, right? Racial terrorism, not necessarily the legacy of slavery, which is the larger issue. We know that. So those are all nuances. Those are all nuances that we can, again, share with Delegate Pena Melnick, because, again, she's going to have, obviously, valuable insight in that regard. And I think help guide us on how to move with those nuances in mind. Okay. Any other questions? Any other thoughts around our advocacy? So again, this is going to be the next several months for us. Is going to be advocating even after session is over in April. We'll still have 2 months to go at that point. So we still want to continue to advocate for the work that we have done. All right, hearing none, seeing none, we'll move on to any announcements. Yes, Commissioner Haley, I see your hand, and then Commissioner Miller, and I'll come to you.
I think looking at our list, I think only Commissioner Snowden is also involved with this, but there's going to be an apology for slavery, which will be held, and I think you should have been invited by now to be a part.
I was.
Okay. That has happened. Apology for slavery, which is now November 22nd. So of course that brings to mind the same thing that Commissioner Coles mentioned about being at a certain time, which makes it challenging for people. But the reason it was changed is because the amount of positive feedback of people who have decided to attend was so much that it was not going to be possible to be held in the first venue of choice, which is a smaller theater at the Maryland Hall for Creative Arts. Now it's going to be moved to the larger venue at the Maryland Hall for Creative Arts. Part of what I'm going to set up part of the earlier part, which is about the history of slavery in Anne Arundel County. And from what I believe, Commissioner Snowden is going to, on behalf of the Caucus of African American Leaders, make the official call for the apology, because I believe you and the caucus are the ones who first put it into the county executive Stuart Pittman's mind to put this forth. So, but you really do need to RSVP, because that's one reason why we're trying to provide food as well. So, and in the second part of this day, there's presentation, apology, there's lunch, and then there's going to be 2 panels in the afternoon. I don't remember what one panel is, but one panel is about the reparations or options that are out there in the world which could be considered. Another is about what options there are right now from Anne Arundel County itself to help people move forward. Does that sound right to you, Carl?
It does. In fact, Mr. Chairman, if I could just say this is an excellent opportunity that Trish just mentioned, where the commission officially, and I assume the commission agrees that this apology is a good thing, we could use this opportunity and should use this opportunity to do some pre-stuff by releasing this statement applauding the county executive for having this apology, and within the press release announce that we'll be releasing our final report as a way of getting the media to be prepared for this coming. But Chris, correct me if this is the case. If this is not the case, no mayor, including the mayor of Baltimore City, where slavery took place, or county executive in the state of Maryland has ever apologized formally for being involved in slavery. Is that correct?
I'm not aware of any, because even our city of Annapolis, I don't think the then mayor was involved. I think that was the city council, I think. Yes.
So that's big, right? That's big. I heard about the potential move to the 22nd. So unfortunately, I will not be able to attend because I will be at a conference in Atlanta. So what I do want to make sure is that there is an official representative from our commission to be there. I know that several of us will be there, but perhaps in different capacities. So I don't want to double up your work unnecessarily. Although I know you all will speak, about what the commission is doing. So that's something that I will reach out and see who's willing to be there as the official MLTRC rep, and I'll certainly let the organizers know that I won't be able to attend, with my sincerest apologies.
I just want to say really quick before Commissioner Milne, you were supposed to have a dual role. You were representing and you were also providing your musical talents.
Okay, so there was a
dual role. Right?
First, if it was on November 1st, I was good, but yeah, the 22nd is I'll be in Atlanta. I would have done it. So,
okay, just so you know, that was part of what.
But I can. What I'll try to do is see if there is a drummer that is able to attend, to be a part of that, and certainly, again, also having an official MLTRC rep. So I'll think about that, and Chris, I'll let you know.
Before you call on Amy, is it appropriate at this point for me to make a formal motion that we, as a commission, go on the record as applauding the county executive so that a letter can be sent out and that sort of thing. Is that necessary to do a motion on this at this point?
Council, do we need to vote to say yay?
I would suggest doing so, yes.
Okay. All right.
I'd like to make a formal motion that the commission go on record as commending the county executive for having the courage, really, to make a formal apology, and that the letter be sent out before the November 22nd date.
All right. That's the
second
motion.
that. Yeah, I
Second.
the motion. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstain? All right. Motion carries. We will do that. Thank you for that, Commissioner Snowden. And Commissioner Millen, you may now share your thoughts.
Yep. I would just like to remind everybody or inform everybody that on October 25th is the annual Maryland Lynching Memorial Projects Conference. It's the 8th conference held at the Lewis Museum. Dr. Stacy Patton, who testified at the April MLTRC hearing, is returning and talking about the smallest nooses based on her research and forthcoming book. She is just one of many folks who will be speaking. And the link I just put in the chat box, this is a great opportunity to come, especially on the eve of releasing this report and being a presence there. If you are going to be there, I'm happy to create a little commissioner badge for you. So let me know. If you don't let me know in the next 24 hours, I will not be able to print you a badge. But that's the logistics person. It would really be great to see all of you and to be there together. So thanks.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Commissioner Millen. I will definitely do my best to stop by because I want to be there for sure. Any other announcements?
I just want to pop up what Commissioner Davis put down because I did not know this, but now since we're free on November 1st, I wanted to pump up what she just put in there. Border State Freedom Seekers celebrating Maryland's Emancipation Day. That I think she's moderating it. I think.
No, I'm presenting.
Okay.
Was that saying, yeah. So just wanted to drop that in the chat.
Excellent. September, November 1st between 1 and 3 p.m. at Riversdale House Museum, right?
No,
at the Lewis Museum.
At the Reginald F. Lewis.
Oh,
not
excellent. All right. All right, good. All right.
Oh, that's like back to back. That's like back to back weeks too. Yeah, 25th. So this Saturday and next Saturday. Okay, there you go. So there's your weekend plans for the next 2 weeks, y'all. Thank you for that, Commissioner Davis, and thank you, Commissioner Haley, for uplifting that. Any final announcements? All right, hearing none, seeing none, then I will move for us to adjourn this meeting. As always, thank you for your commitment. Thank you for your dedication, your time, your energy. Okay, thank you, Vice Chair Chavis. So the family has agreed to include the image of Matthew Williams. Okay, so we can do the Maryland, My Maryland, if we so choose. We'll continue to see if there are other options, but at least we have that one and we have their permission. That's wonderful. Vice Chair Chavis, if there's a way that you can get that and just kind of capture it, in writing, video, audio, we just want to make sure we have that backed up so we can say, yep, we got their permission and we're good to go. Commissioner Haley, see you.
Yeah, just really quickly. So who's writing the letter to the county executive announcing that we applaud? Are you, Commissioner Snowden, are you?
No, what I was actually, Chris, I love the fact you're detailed because again, I've seen things supposed to get done and somebody said, well, who makes it? And generally, I'm sure all of us at this experience, when you make a recommendation, the next thing you know, you're drafted to do it. I got to tell you, I'm going to be taking a much needed vacation that's coming up. So I would love to do it, but I don't think it should be dependent on me being here because I'm going to be out of town next week. So
Yeah, that's fine, Commissioner Snowden. I kind of presumed I was gonna do it anyway. So I mean, it's a simple. We applaud this. Like I know what to write. It's fine.
Yeah.
Just let me know by what time it needs to. I mean, we got till the 22nd of November. Okay, I got time. We got a month.
Yeah, you got.
I'll get it done. Don't worry. Just remind me. So that's cool. But again, thank you all for being here. Again, thank you for your commitment to this work. And our next meeting is scheduled for the 10th. So November 10th. Same time, same place, and we are getting ever closer to the culmination of 6 years of a lot of work, but all important, all necessary, and thinking about that time capsule, Commissioner Snowden. Yeah, history will shine upon us, I think, for what we did, and so I'm grateful to you all. All right,
Thank you. Have a good day, everyone. God
great
bless.
day. Be safe. Talk soon.